Walter Carter here at Carter Vintage Guitars with a wonderful Gibson from the 30s, a tenor guitar, and you could get a tenor neck on anything from Gibson in that time, and someone had the foresight to have a tenor neck put on a Nick Lucas guitar. Nick is largely unknown now, but was a huge star in the late 20s. He started out in the teens. He was an Italian kid. His name was Dominic Nicholas Anthony Lucinesi. Early on, as a teenager, he teamed up with a guy named Ted Fiorito, another Italian kid from Newark, in a group called the Kentucky Five. Don't know if they ever set foot in Kentucky. And in 1922, made a record called Picking the Guitar, and the flip side was called Teasing the Frets. And these were hot guitar solos, and that was the first record to feature a hot guitar player. The tenor banjo was the more popular instrument at that time, and it would be later in the 30s before music changed and the guitar became more suited for the popular music of the day. Gibson at that time did not make a flat top guitar. When they decided to, in 1926, they recruited an endorser, much like they did in the early 50s with Les Paul when they made their first solid body electric. So they recruited Nick to put his name on a guitar. He asked them to make a guitar that was thicker than the average guitar. Same size. Here's another tenor from the same era of a smaller body size, but you can see the noticeable difference in the thickness of the guitar. So that gave Nick's signature model, Nick Lucas Special, an extra depth of tone that the typical Gibson did not have. The timing was pretty good. In 1929, Nick appeared in a film called The Gold Diggers of Broadway and sang Tiptoe Through the Tulips. It was a huge hit. Gibson was on the map with a huge star playing a Gibson guitar. Unfortunately, the Depression killed a lot of that, but Gibson continued to make the Nick Lucas guitar. But as a measure of how big a star he was, when the film The Great Gatsby was made, there were 3 of his records in that movie as contemporary records. So let's get to the tenor guitar. Why is there such a thing with only 4 strings? It's because that most people played tenor banjo in the early 20s. When music began to switch, if they didn't play guitar, it might have been difficult to learn a whole new set of chords. So as an easy step, people just stuck a 4-string neck, tuned in fifths, onto a guitar. That doesn't have the depth of a guitar, but it still found an audience. The most famous player would be Tiny Grimes, who played an electric tenor in the 30s and 40s, as soon as electric guitars came out. Today, probably the best known player would be Nico Case, who plays tenor guitars. And it's found a home recently as an accompaniment instrument for Texas fiddle competitions. And I think that's because it's not an overpowering sound, and because of the strings tuned in fifths, there's more clarity in the tone. It's a little underappreciated instrument because it is different from a guitar. This particular tenor is owned by a guy whose main instrument is a tenor. This is owned by Lowell Levenger, who most people better know as Banana, who was in the group The Youngbloods back in the 60s, and is a connoisseur of tenor guitars today. And so if you want to know about the magic and what makes a tenor guitar so special to some people, this guitar would be a good place to start.